Okay, my personal goal is to try and make it to chapter 10 of her Wayward Cowboy by Maisey Yates. We left off right here. And yet she still felt betrayed, that he had gone back to a life she hadn't known he had, that he married somebody else, as if you didn't think he had. It would have been different if she would have had a lover, but not having a lover didn't have anything to do with Micah Stone. It was all the things that came after. It was all the things tied up in him, and he'd gone back to have a baby with someone else. If she'd known that, would she have cried for him the way that she had? Would she have driven quite so fast? Would she have broken her leg in those places and split her torso up inside? Would she have left herself with all those scars? She didn't know the answer to those questions. Maybe she would have driven faster. Maybe it would have been worse. Maybe she would just be dead. And that would be a pretty piss poor thing, to have died over some man who never even slept with her. She wanted him close, and now all she did was try to keep people away. She was sick of herself. And her family came in loud and boisterous in the big cabin, and her brothers started to go through the fridge to get out the steaks that they had taken out of the freezer earlier. There was always beef to be had at the King's. She said that she was a vegetarian for a while. She might as well have announced that her plans to become a serial killer had not gone over well with her ranching family. As a result, she had stuck to her guns and avoided beef for just 2 years, just to be in a fight about it. It was Denver who said to her, "Why are you cutting your nose off to spite your face?" And it was really then that she realized she was being her dad, rather than being in a fight with him, and she felt like a really silly thing. So she'd given up on the crusade because it had never been about her moral convictions, and it had always been about making Gentry angry. She thought perhaps maybe the better part of valor was to eat prime rib. It was better now in the house that her dad was gone. Her mom had never been much part of her life, and given how her dad was, she assumed that might even be a gift. He left the ranch to all the kids and had gone his own way years before. And it was a good thing. It made everybody happier, more free. Well, everybody but her. She didn't really do happy or free, and she supposed that was her fault, her problem, because she was the cause of the accident, and she was the one who had never gotten over it, who had never been able to forgive herself for what she'd done to her own body. She didn't know what the hell to do with that, and she decided that she really couldn't do family dinners tonight. So while her brothers were outside grilling, she pulled some leftovers out, heated them up, then beat a hasty retreat to her room. They didn't live in each other's pockets, even though they did live in the same house, so she knew nobody would notice that she was gone or care about why. Anyway, they were all probably still mad about the way she'd been this morning. She hated that part of herself, the one that made people want to avoid her, the one that made her family not all that sad when she didn't join them for dinner. She was a bitch. She wished that she hadn't. She wished that she could be better. She wished that she could find a way to heal. Micah, the word whispered along her body. She hated it. She just hated it. She scampered back through the bedroom's door, down the hall, down the stairs. Her family was sitting around the kitchen table, and it was dark outside. Nobody said anything when she ran out the front door. She let out a long breath and then took in another one, smelling her sweet hay-scented air, doing her best to revel in the ranch, because she loved the ranch, because she didn't want to leave it, because for all that she was not exactly beloved by all the people here because of her own behavior, this was her place. Micah. Yeah, he was the root of a lot of her problems, but she was the ultimate architect of her own disaster, then and now. Sometimes she wanted to cry, but she didn't let herself do that. Maybe that was why it came out as F-bombs and anger. She didn't know why he was here. Well, she did know. She knew that he was here because of his son. But what she didn't understand was why. Why was the universe doing this to her? It was such a hell of a thing, and she just wanted to be free. She wanted to be free of this pain. But she was bound up by the loss of him and what had happened after. Bound up in the insecurity that it created, and she had started pushing people away so that they wouldn't see her as ugly as the way she did. Yeah, she just thought she was so ugly. And what would he think now? He thought you were pretty back then, but if he saw you naked now, the idea made her want to shiver. She wanted to be with him. That was the thing. Physically, time had not dulled the impact of him. He had gorgeous eyes, a little bit of gray at the temples that assaulted his dark hair. His stubble was the same. There was lines now fanning out around those eyes, bracketing his mouth. And she just thought he looked better than ever. That was the truth of it. He was gorgeous. She ran. It was 2 miles from their house down to Sullivan Lake. It was owned by the Sullivans, but they had an easement so that they could all use it. Each family had a segment of the shore to call their own. When she got down there, she breathed a sigh of relief, hoping the rope swing was still there like it always was. And she climbed up on it and swung back and forth, letting the night breeze blow through her hair. Maybe there would be clarity here. Except she never had an easy time finding clarity in herself.